The psychology of becoming successful. Now, because society has become perpetually materialistic and everybody's trying to outdo one another, and a lot of our happiness comes from our bank account amount, our bags, our shoes, our cars. Well, maybe it would be helpful to understand the underpinnings as to what makes a person successful, what's going to increase your likelihood of becoming successful, and maybe even examine how you define success. These are having really great resilience and adaptability. He who is able to persevere and adapt is more likely to succeed and advance in the world. Also, people who are able to be very self reflective. So, just like everything, usually we can trace it back to childhood. So, think about what's driving you. What are the potential insecurities, unmet needs, and past traumas that might be the fuel to what's driving you towards your goals? Are you wanting to hit a certain financial stature because at one point you felt inferior or inadequate? Is that what's driving you? Is it about love for your loved ones, your family, your offspring, your parents? Is that what's driving you? Is it about generational wealth? Or are you trying to satiate or subdue some sort of pain that hasn't been dealt with? Think about what are the variables that'll help you kind of shape and refine your strategies and maybe catch some hiccups. So there's some things to pay attention to. Do you notice any patterns? Are you impulsive when it comes to purchases? Or have you ever examined what your attachment style is with money? So, a lot of times, if there's been stuff we've dealt with in childhood, like let's say scarcity, not having enough resources and always feeling like you had to go without or just kind of scrape by, or self comparison, maybe you felt less than or inferior because it seemed like people around you had everything and more, and that made you feel othered and ostracized, then sometimes we can develop an anxious or avoidant attachment with money and the idea of success. So, what anxious attachment with this type of stuff means is basically you have a feeling that anytime you attain something, it might go away. So, you try to squeeze onto it harder, which actually does then manifest it going away. Or once you do get that bag, because you have an avoidant attachment with success and money, you end up accidentally, inadvertently self sabotaging. That can look like maybe, again, impulsivity, impulse buying, maybe trusting the wrong person, maybe suddenly engaging in some maladaptive habits and behaviors that then take you off your path of success. This is seen a lot with celebrities who come into money quick or athletes who go from rags to riches because it's so unfamiliar and foreign to them to finally have resources. They end up squandering what they've attained and misallocating resources because inner them is used to going without, and because we're creatures of habit, they just kind of revert back to what they're used to, which is having a feeling of scarcity. A lot of this is subconscious, and so it's always worthwhile to dig around in your psyche, whether that's with a practitioner or if you want to go the self-help route, that's okay as well. There's so many resources out there, but if you look at the underlying kind of main pillars of the messages that a lot of these popular financial literacy books have, or how to be successful books have, they all talk about looking at your roots. What did you start with? Where did you come from? And how might that be informing your present day patterns and tendencies? What are your thoughts? A lot of us are very driven individuals. South Asian community comes from parents who are fairly affluent for the most part, and they are successful and they've made it, maybe because they had good tendencies and patterns when it comes to frugality. But now I think we can all agree that the next generations are not frugal. A lot of us are spending very liberally, and we're not very mindful or scarce with the resources that we have. But of course, it's about sustaining what we've attained. So, in the big picture, in the long run, it might be a good idea to also look at the psychology of success and just kind of setting yourself up for a long term successful outcome, and just healing any potential attachment wounds that might be hanging out. Let me know your thoughts.